everyone, my name is Ryan Cam, and welcome to my review for Suicide Squad. This was directed by David Ayer, the writer of The Fast and the Furious, the first one, and the director of End of Watch, my favorite movie of 2012. And it stars a whole host of people, including Will Smith, Margot Robbie, Jared Leto, Viola Davis, and that's literally just to name a few. And this is the third installment in the DCEU, and the latest in my series of DCEU reviews. I'll be reviewing every movie in the DCEU leading up to Birds of Prey coming out in February. I've already covered Man of Steel and Batman v Superman. If you'd like to check those out, the playlist link will be in the eye in one of the corners here. I forget which. But for right now, let's talk about Suicide Squad because I have been wanting to find an excuse to talk about this movie for a very long time. I'm very patient with the DCEU. I think Man of Steel is a very flawed masterpiece, and Batman v Superman gets dumped on a lot, but there's a lot of good stuff in there, but also a lot of bad stuff. But Suicide Squad is the movie that I hate the most. Or at least that's what I thought when I first saw it. At first I was like, that wasn't bad. But then, as the days went on, I was just like, okay, that movie was horrible. And having rewatched it, yeah. It's not hard to see why people don't like this movie, because this movie is god-awful. Also, just to keep in mind, I have watched the extended edition for this review, so let me just say that the extended edition does help. However, that's like putting a band-aid on a hospital patient that needs life support. In a bit of a reversal for this series, let's talk about the stuff I like, starting with Will Smith as Deadshot. He was great. I mean, Will Smith is Will Smith. He is just a human ball of charisma, and at least he looks like he's having fun in this movie. Though I have the feeling that he was given all of the movie's one-liners because they were like, oh, you're Will Smith, you can make him work. Some of them work. Like there's this one where he tells Rick Flag, hey, you gotta work on your pep talk skills. You know who Phil Jackson is? You know, triangle bitch. That's actually pretty funny. But then there's the lines where he was like, okay, so we're the Patsies. Some kind of Suicide Squad. Do you get it? Because it's the name of the movie. It's the name of the movie. It's the name of the movie. So it's very hit or miss with Will, but it's always nice to see him. And Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn is admittedly pretty good. She's about as good a Harley Quinn as we're probably going to ever get. At least on screen, that is. And while Birds of Prey looks kind of so-so, I am excited to see what she does in that movie. So good on this movie for making me excited for Harley Quinn, which was a hard thing to do for a while. But yeah, that's where the good stuff ends, and there's a lot of bad stuff, so let's get into it. Starting with the soundtrack. Okay, I like certain existing songs in movies. They're overplayed a lot, but they're done within the context of the story, so I do allow it. But this has got to be one of the most annoying soundtracks I have ever heard in any movie. I feel like some Warner Brothers executive just found David Ayer's iPod lying around somewhere and was like, okay, we need a soundtrack. Here, hook up this iPod and throw it on shuffle. Like, there's a bunch of songs we can use in there, right? Fortunate Son by Creedence Clearwater Revival is in there. Bohemian Rhapsody is in there. I was sitting there the entire time like, okay, what was Whiter Shade of Pale by Procol Harum not taken? Was Gimme Shelter by Rolling Stones way too overused? Is there any possible way that you can squeeze Tiny Dancer in there somewhere? What about Sweet Home Alabama? I'm sure you can throw in a Leonard Skinner song in there somewhere. I mean, I like all of these songs. I grew up listening to them, but by God, at least try and make them fit into the story somehow. It was like the soundtrack was going, and then the movie was going like this. It was like I'm acting on two different planes, and the songs just completely took me out of the movie every time that I heard them. And then let's talk about the color grading in this movie, because, oh wow, the color grading in this movie is not good. Now, I will be the first to admit, even though that I love the MCU, a lot of the MCU movies do look pretty flat in the color department. I understand this. However, Suicide Squad's colors are just a weird mix of darks and colors, and it just smashes together to make some puke-looking mixture. That's the best I can describe it. I feel like the creators of the movie were just like, okay, we want dark, but we also want funny as well. Here, let's just throw some colors on the screen. Black, pink, blue, throw some neon in there. Do it up. I don't know if you all know this or not. You are an intelligent audience, but just having a movie be literally dark doesn't make it good. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 had bright and beautiful colors. Logan had desaturated colors. What do they both have in common? They were good. Suicide Squad just looked ugly. Even when I was watching it on my 4K television, it just didn't look good at all. And then let's talk about the villain, because dear God, this villain, the Enchantress, is just so bad. Now, to be fair, I like the idea of the Enchantress. I like the idea of the Enchantress. But in practice, it was not good. Basically, when she becomes, her final form, her idea of threatening is her doing the hula dance. You will suffer at the hands of my own. If any of you think I'm being too harsh, imagine if Darth Vader started doing the Macarena. Imagine if Thanos did a moonwalk. You have to be more threatening than one of those little Hawaiian dolls that you see on every trucker's dash. You gotta be more than that. You can't just be, aloha, hello. And I guess my general problem that I have with this movie is that it's just a mess. There was no direction. It was just clearly made to capitalize off of the success of Guardians of the Galaxy. And there is a good movie within all of this. It was just they threw 3 scripts at the wall to see what stuck, but none of them did. I honestly thought Jared Leto's Joker was going to be the villain of this movie. And on paper, that sounds like a good prospect. But instead we got the Enchantress, and just, oh dear. And now, before we go to my final thoughts, here's my quick hot take on Jared Leto's Joker. He was okay. I found his Joker to be more kind of obnoxious than terrifying. Let's just say, I thought his look kind of looked like a cosplayer. Like one of those cosplays that you see at a Comic-Con. I'm not trying to bury cosplayers. I'm sure that they are very nice people. But I'm sure that this was on a dream costume list for the Joker. Alright, here's Anarchist Joker, here's supervillain Joker, here's, Hot Topic Joker, and someone found the Hot Topic Joker and they sent it to Warner Brothers and they were like, this is perfect, let's use this. Heath Ledger's Joker looks like he takes about 30 minutes to get ready in the morning. Jared Leto's Joker looks like he takes about 5 hours. At the end of the day, Suicide Squad is horrid. This was just a confused mess of a movie. I am a DCEU apologist. I defend it every chance I can. But I'm sorry, I just cannot defend Suicide Squad. Thank God someone who actually knows how to do team-up movies is actually doing the sequel. But that is all for me, guys. Thank you so much, as always, for watching. If you saw this movie and you have your opinions, leave them in the comment section below. I do read the comments, so do check it out. My name is Ryan Cam, and I'll see you in the next one.